folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Another cold front moving through. Like I've said before, here in the Ozarks, like with some places around the country, fall, especially the first part of fall, is just this crazy roller coaster of yesterday it was hot and sunny, and today it's pretty chilly and windy. It's not even 50 degrees right now. So those of you wanting to move to the Ozarks know that at least the first part of fall, it's erratic sometimes in weather, but we get used to it and sometimes even enjoy that. To give an update on the map, and for those of you that are like, what's the map? There'll be a link in the description below of a video that I made discussing the map, talking about the map. It's about of a way to bring all of us together to help make connections in your area. I have had an overwhelming response, and I'm very grateful and thankful for that. My wife and I have come up with a database to put it all in. I've been receiving well over 100 emails a day, so it's a lot to catch up on. And this weekend we will start being the matchmaker, sending emails out, letting you folks know the people that are in your area that are interested in making a connection to build a kind of a preparedness type of community in your own area, not just an online thing. So if you're, like I said, if you're interested, the video that I made going into more detail will be in the description down below, and we'll be getting those first emails out, first batches out this weekend, because probably on Sunday is what I suspect. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for, at least what probably got you to click on this video. Something I hardly ever talk about politics, but and I'm not going to talk about it probably in the way some of you think that I'm going to talk about it, but I do want to address this presidential election. We mention it from time to time in different videos, but I think it's very important because, as we all know, this election, leading up to it, the election day, and probably afterwards, has great potential of being an SHTF situation all on its own, because of the tension, because of the great possibility of the election dragging out to where we won't know who won, probably for weeks, maybe for months, because of all the garbage that's going on. Now, I'm not going to get on here and I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you who I vote for or who I support or anything. I try to take it from a very middle of the ground road, but I also have a very staunchly conservative and libertarian constitutional mindset, so it's going to be all filtered in with that. Last night, as of the making of this video, was the debate, the last debate, I guess, between the president and Joe Biden. I'll admit I didn't watch it. I watched parts of it, I watched highlights of it, but to be honest with you, that kind of stuff, it's a big show. It's like going to the circus, and well, I'm an adult, I don't go to circuses. It's kind of ridiculous in a lot of ways, and I think that the whole campaign has been that way. Both sides have made mistakes. Both sides have done some really stupid stuff, and even if you don't think about their actual political stance on an issue, just the way that the campaigns have been run, you could definitely point out problems with both. But as far as the actual election this year, regardless of who you are wanting to win, whoever you're voting for, whoever you're voting against, I think it's pretty safe to say that regardless of who wins or the outcome, you and I, the average citizen, are going to lose. And I say that because, you know, if the president wins re-election, I think the left, and this is not an opinion, that you can find numerous sources of prominent people on the left, even Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama have alluded to it, that that the left is not going to accept the president winning re-election. And some may say that just means they're not going to accept it, and others have actually verbally said that that the violence would get worse, that they would burn this country to the ground. I've actually heard that being said by some people. People like in these activists and stuff. So odds are, if he wins re-election, this country could see a lot of turmoil, and it could certainly spark a grander, larger scale civil war than we're already in. In fact, many of the states have already called up and activated their National Guard specifically for the election. That's why they're activating them, because getting them ready for this election. If Joe Biden wins, I'm not saying that the Donald Trump supporters would be violent. I think some of them definitely could be. I'm not the kind of person that's going to say all of the, Republican and Trump supporters are all good people, because they're not. So there's definitely could be some violence on that part. If he wins, the things that the people that control him, and that's what it is. If Joe Biden gets elected, he's not going to be the one in charge. We all know that. There will be other people in charge. And I actually saw something that, I believe it was one of the leaders of the BLM leaders, said that if Joe Biden gets elected, that he better toe the line of what they want, or they'll do the same thing. They'll burn cities to the ground just like they've done under the President Trump. So, there's no guarantee that there would be less violence, less turmoil, less civil war just because Joe Biden gets elected. And I think that's what they want you to believe, or at least they want the people to believe. But I don't think that's the case. I actually saw yesterday that Vladimir Putin said that he supported the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party of America is more closely aligned with communist views. And I thought that alone should be enough for most people to say, whoa, wait a minute. The Democrat Party used to not always be that way. They have embraced socialism and Marxism. And there are still people. I've got a member of my family, an uncle that's much older, and he's an old school Democrat. And he just hasn't quite fully realized that the Democrats today are not old school Democrats anymore. So I'm not just knocking anyone that claims to be a Democrat. It's really those that are fully embracing the hard left mentality. That they've got to realize that part of the Democrat Party, which is pretty much all of it, the controlling part for sure, they're not just trying to push mild socialism. They fully embrace Marxism. On the other hand, the Republicans aren't much better in their own way. They may not be Marxist, but they certainly have their own failings, which is why I say that the two political party system is just two wings of the same bird and two sides of the same coin. But anyways, we're not going to get into that. Today we're just talking about the election. One thing that I did notice, I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments about the debate last night. The one thing that a friend of mine, before I say this, a friend of mine and I actually talked about this on the phone a few weeks ago. And he's like me. He's not a Republican or a Democrat. He's, for the right guy and very conservative and libertarian. But he said, the one thing about Trump that gets me, whether you like him or not, he has a real difficult time of selling his point, of getting his point across. And the highlights that I watched last night, there were so many times that he could have just handed it to Joe Biden, and he didn't. When he was accused of the whole putting children in cages, separating children at the border, he could have easily had it, his staff, because they got to know that these kind of things could be brought up, of saying, well, listen here, Joe, this is when that policy was started, and it was started before I became president. You know, things like that. He has a real difficult time sometimes of being clear on his point. Of course, Joe, on the other hand, is a difficult time of making any kind of point. So that's what we're left with. You know, there's something that I've said for many years with politics, especially on the presidential election. I have read much of what the founding fathers have written over the years as a history buff. Sorry, it's getting a little windy, so it may be messing with the mic. And what I came to believe of how the founders designed this nation and designed the office of the presidency is it was really intended to be basically the best possible person that could run this nation. That's who, you know, we should choose as the president. And every 4 years when there's a presidential election, I sit back and I think, is this really the best person that we could come up with to run this country? I mean, really, is this really the best person? And, you know, I know a lot of people, especially the Trump bots. I'm not knocking Trump at all, but I'm not certainly, you know, one of these Trump bots that think he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Many of them believe that he is, and, you know, maybe he is in this moment, but standing there or sitting there and watching them up on stage debating, I cannot come to the agreement that either one of them are the best person for this nation. And so I guess the point of this video really is that with all the things going on with the health crisis and you know, this major push for this new world order. I mean, that, you know, the Great Reset. It's they can taste it, and they're taking advantage of everything that's happening to make it fully enacted, and all the other stuff. This campaign, this election, it's gonna affect us. I think it's gonna affect us more than any other campaign that I can remember. I certainly cannot remember any other campaign in my lifetime being as dirty and just the digs on each other. And I know that there have been in the past where campaigns have been pretty dirty, but this one, it's like it was taken to a whole different level. And also the point that, you know, you cannot really tell anyone hardly anymore of who you're voting for without someone becoming so offended, so upset, and in some places they've even become violent. You know, people are becoming violent just because you support one candidate or the other. And what it does, I think, in the end, is it shows the state of our nation, that we are so deeply divided and we are so on edge of everything that's happened, that it's showing through with this election and with other things. My wife and I were talking about the whole mask thing, and I'm not going to get into whether it's good or right or wrong or whatever. I just want to talk about for a second of how the people on both sides, the ones that oppose them and the ones that are for them, I mean, people are taking it to a violent level. You know, people are being assaulted because they are wearing a mask, or they're being assaulted because they're not wearing a mask, or they're saying the things that are coming out of people's mouths are horrific over a mask. You know, whether it works or not, it doesn't matter at this point. The people what's coming out of their mouths are horrible. Same thing with the whole campaign. It shows where we are as a nation. It shows how we have we've lost ourselves. We've lost our minds. It's almost like a very strange dystopian movie that we're living in. I was watching some highlights the other day of a Trump rally. It wasn't one that he was at. It was one of those parades, I think. That's what it was. And then I watched a clip of a Biden rally where everyone looks like they're dead asleep. There's hardly anyone there. Also watched one of the former president, Barack Obama, where he's standing speaking to about a dozen people, and they act like they're just totally not impressed. I mean, here's the leader of the Democrat Party, really, the one that they all love so much, Barack Obama, and they act like they're totally uninterested in what he has to say. And then you flip over and you watch a video of these these Trump supporters at a parade, and they're acting like, sometimes some of them are acting like complete lunatics. And I sit there and I'm thinking, am I in a dream? Is this reality? Because the things that are going on with this campaign and this election, and how people are reacting to it, it almost looks very dystopian, or very strange, just how people are handling it. So I think what I've said before. Hold on, I got a big gust of wind. I don't think that the outcome is going to be good either way. And that's why I made the video a few days ago that these are the things you need to be doing before the election. The election is just around the corner. If you are not kind of prepared for it, prepared for civil unrest. I've heard people say that, you know, they've never done the early voting before, but they're doing early voting this year because they don't want to have to go in there and vote on election day because they're afraid of what might happen. It's all sorts of stuff. There's stuff going around on the news that organizations are sending letters out, posting things on people's front doors saying, we saw that you had a Trump sign in your front yard, and now we've got your address and we're coming to deal with you later. You know, it's absolutely insanity. The amount of corruption, the amount of lies. Politicians lie all the time, but it seems this year the things that they lie about, blatantly, absolute blatant lies, the media lets them get away with it because the media is in their back pocket. It's on and on and on, folks. You need to get ready for it, and not just ready in a prepping way, but just ready for probably a lot crazier stuff. And come election day and thereafter, you may see some stuff happen in this country that you've never thought you'd ever see before. Because everyone, they're like a boiling pot ready to explode. And I don't think it's going to take too much to tip a lot of people over that line. And it could be the election be that thing. So while you sit back and watch the craziness that's going on, and that will most likely continue to happen until November 3rd, do your part in getting yourselves prepared in every way possible that you can while you have a little bit of time left. I'm going to do another video here in a couple of days on the food. You know, I did one, it was super popular just a day or two ago about food shortages, and I've had a lot of people say, oh, there is no food shortage, there is no food shortage. That's a hoax. I'm going to present some evidence that it's not just me talking about it, that there are indications that long term down the road we are looking at some food shortages, not just as a nation but as a planet. And if the rest of the planet's, you know, we may have plenty here, the rest of the planet's starving, it's going to cut into ours too. So anyways, that's something else. Basically, just get ready for this, because this election cycle has been a wild ride, and I think it's only going to get crazier. All right, folks, sign up for the email, the map. Send me your email. You can find out information clicking the link below with the map video. And, well, we'll just be ready. All right, folks, thank you all for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.